All right, let's get back to Jerry Lewis. I want to leave not comedy in the sense specifically of comedy at the moment, but I'd like to get back to Chaplin and Keaton. You said, I believe, that they were great influences in your life. And Harpo Marx, too.
Oh, yes. All of the great artists are an influence on a young comic.
Why? Why these?
Well, because you're watching, well, they had an exquisite greatness. They had a dignity, and they had a rhythm, and they had a body language, and they understood sounds. A visual comic from the early days of the clapboard that took the place of the slap in the mouth, you know. These guys utilized everything, even though there wasn't sound in 1925. They were utilizing the body language that came from the sounds. And I was drawn, in answer to your question, I was drawn to Chaplin because he had the most marvelous way of setting up an audience, getting them prepared for one thing. And following the Stan Laurel rule, Chaplin would tell an audience he was going to do something. He would then proceed to do it, and then made sure to let the audience know that it's been done.
Mm-hmm.
And that was an exquisite kind of strategy. And I was enthralled with it at the age of 5. But I didn't know that it was strategy, and I didn't understand any of the things I'm alluding to right now until I got much older. And then when I met Chaplin and we talked comedy, and I had those 4 or 5 magical visits with him prior to his death. No, after his death, I met him. The marvelous thing was that that's when I learned what it was that inspired me.
Where did you meet him? Where did you have these talks with him?
I was at Chasen's in Hollywood, and he asked Dave Chasen if he would introduce me to him. He was in another part of the restaurant. David Chasen walks over to me and says, "Jerry, Charlie Chaplin would like to meet you." And I said to David, I said, "Well, I'm sure that he has wanted that all of his life." And I'm giving him one of those dumb answers,
mm-hmm.
you know. He said, "No, Charlie Chaplin is in the other side of the restaurant. Would you come over?" And I was catatonic. I couldn't move.
Awestruck.
Oh, there's something better than awestruck, because I realized it was real, and I wanted to get up and go with David, and I couldn't get my legs to start me up. I finally got over to him, and there he is. You're looking at, if you were a kid in Sandlot, you're looking at Babe Ruth. And he sticks his hand out, and he says, "I'm very proud to know you." I said, "You're proud to know me." Well, thank you. And I wish I could tell you what I said. I sat there. I left my family at the table, and I'm told 3 hours later, I returned to the table. I had no idea where that time went. The next time I was with him at his home in Switzerland, and then 3 more times in Switzerland with him.
You remember all of them, didn't you?
Oh, God, I remember them all, and I remember what I learned. I remember what we talked about. This sensitive, loving man was the kind of genius that you saw. It was though there was an aura around him that comes from genius. And then when I became really comfortable with him, we got into things like he would ask me my opinion of an edit that he made, particularly in Limelight, and would I have cut it that way? And then my comfort became discomfort again, because he's putting me on his level. And for me to say to him, "No, I don't think I would have cut it that way." And he was then delighted to hear that, because he thought the cut he made was wrong. And when that was happening, awestruck, my God, I couldn't think of anything for months after those meetings. And I never missed getting a Christmas card from him from the night we met, April the 11th, 1960, till the time he died. He asked me if there was anything he could do for me. I asked him for a print of Modern Times. And he said to me, I will get you a mint print of Modern Times from the New York Negative, from the vault, if you get me a print of The Bellboy, which was his favorite film that I had made. Within 2 weeks, arrives in my house a box. I opened the box, and inside are 3 cans holding 35 millimeter prints of Modern Times, and the tag on it was, "To Jerry, love, Charlie." And I sent him the print of The Bellboy. And it could easily be the 5 most marvelous times of my life, being with Chaplin.
What a story. Jerry Lewis, of course, and we'll be right back.